Hi EM 101ers! In our last tutorial, we looked at the Accord model and learned about the different criteria you need to evaluate when deciding what sources to use for your assignments. Now, we're going to walk through applying the Accord model to an online source. For this sample search, I'm going to focus on researching the history of food in New Orleans. I have put my search terms into Google, food, New Orleans, and history, and on screen are my results. My first result is a Wikipedia page, and while it may contain useful information, I know I won't be able to verify the author's credentials or the oversight of the materials, so I'm going to skip that. The second result looks interesting, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that website to read about the illustrated history of New Orleans food. I can see the name of the site is First We Feast, and I'm not familiar with it, so I'm going to locate the About Us portion of the site to learn about the agenda. Okay, here we have a brief background of the site. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell us in detail why the site exists, but in general, it looks like it's a pop culture video site that's producing some online series. Below, I can see the names of the site contributors, but there aren't any credentials listed, so I don't know if they're experts in the field, have attended culinary school, or ever worked in the food industry. Let's head back to the article we originally found and take a look at that in closer detail. I can see the author is Clarissa Way, and I'm going to click on her name to learn about her credentials. Unfortunately, this didn't link me to her bio, but instead, a list of other articles she wrote for this exact same site, so I don't have enough information to say if she's an expert. Let's move on to look to see if the author cites the work of others. In this first paragraph, we come across a hyperlink citing a quote from a New Orleans native. If I click on that link to verify the quote, I'm brought to Lolis Ellie's website. If I go to the About section of his site, I can see a bio that outlines his accomplishments as a filmmaker, his past work history, and that he has published in a few major outlets. These are credentials I can trust. I would be inclined to look at his website for some reliable information about New Orleans food history. But let's return to our original source and see what else there is to evaluate. As I scroll down, I can read about the 10 dishes that are important to New Orleans food history, but there are no citations to follow to verify any of this information. At this point, I've decided the site is not the best source for my assignment. However, I might go ahead and Google Lolis Ellie to see if he has written any relevant articles, or I might Google the specific dishes identified in this article to find a reputable source that can verify their history. Let's head back to our Google results and take a look at one more source. I'm just scrolling through the results until I see something that interests me. I'm going to look at this site, 300 Years and Counting. When I look at this site, I can see the information is published by the National Museum of American History. That seems reputable, but I'm going to look at the About Us section to confirm. Ah, look! Now I can see this museum is part of the Smithsonian Museum system, and its mission confirms that the agenda of the site is to inform people about the richness and complexity of American history. Let's go back to learn about the author. I can see that the author is Ashley Rose Young, and she has a PhD. I'm going to click on her name, and there's her full bio. Her PhD is in history, and she has a robust and relevant professional biography. I'm going to say that she has passed the credentials evaluation. Let's see if she has cited any outside sources in her article. The first link we come to is under the book she is referencing. When I click on it, I'm redirected to the full details of the book, so that is definitely a pass. Now, we come to the Oversight. I can see this is a blog, but since it's produced by an expert in the field and published on a world-renowned museum website, I'm going to say that it's a reputable site. The next criteria is relevance. I would have to read the article in full before I can determine if this is right for my paper topic, so I will hold off on determining that. The last criteria is date, and I can see this was published in 2018, so it's timely. It looks like, as long as the content is relevant to my paper, this site is a much better source than the first for inclusion in my assignment. This has been a quick overview of applying the Accord model to online sources. I hope you found it helpful. Now it's time for you to apply the Accord model to one of the sources you found online. Return to your research log and complete Step 4. Use the Notes section of the Accord model to capture information about your source evaluation. If you have any questions or need help evaluating a source, remember, librarians are here to help. You can reach us via live chat by clicking the link on the screen or via email.